Ladies and gentlemen, I don't actually have a video for you today. You see, what I had originally intended to release this week didn't quite work out as I expected, which is why instead, I'm going to give you a piece of program that I've written. I'll talk through, what its purpose is as well as the process of me writing it. And yeah, hopefully that makes up for the lack of a proper video. You're watching another random Wednesday episode on 0612's TV. Hello and welcome to another random Wednesday episode. So what is this program? You see, I'm not very satisfied with the way Windows handles sound in general, and I can summarize this in about 3 reasons. First and foremost, when you're using a computer, a lot of the time your hand is at the bottom, near to the left side of the keyboard, and your other hand is on a mouse. So why is it that in order to change the volume, which is something that is done quite often, at least for me, the buttons are all the way across at the back of the keyboard? I guess this is okay for most users, but I find it a little bit too troublesome to have to, keep moving my hands back and forth. So yeah, I thought maybe we could come up with an easier way to adjust the volume. Reason number 2, the increment of changing the volume is actually too big. I mean, maybe you felt that, what you're listening to was too soft, so you increase the volume, and then it's too loud. There is no in between. So maybe that is something we can try to fix as well. Reason number 3 is the fact that natively in Windows, there's actually no feedback for when you change the volume. That is, when you change the volume, there is no on-screen display to indicate, the new level, and just something to show you that the volume has actually been changed. So yeah, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to fix all these 3 things by means of a little AutoHotKey script. So in fact, if you pop out the video description right now, you should find both a link to the source.ahk file as well as a compiled.exe file. So yeah, even if you're not a programming person, you can download the exe file and you will be able to use it. It's not very polished. I mean, I've written it for myself, but if you guys can benefit from it, then why not? So before I go into the technical details, let me tell you how to use the program in case, you're not interested in the technical details. First, you now have several other ways of controlling the volume. Basically, when the volume mod is running, you can control the volume by pressing the Windows key and scrolling the scroll wheel. However, your volume keys will work as per normal. There are quite a few other key combinations you can use to control the size of the step. For a full list of everything you can do with this program, refer to the video description. You will find a link to the image currently shown on screen, which lists all the possible key combinations. Of course, whenever you use any means to change the volume, you should see a little prompt in the lower left corner of the screen, which will show you both graphically and with a number, what is your current volume level. So yeah, that's that for, use instructions in general. If you're interested in actually going into the script and changing things, then, well, keep listening. What you need to make changes to the script and to run it is a utility called AutoHotKey. Now here's the deal. If you already have AutoHotKey on your computer, check its version. There has been a pretty updated version that is actually capable of controlling your Windows sound because the previous version actually had problems. So make sure you're updated to the latest version. I believe it is 1.1, so make sure you have that. When you're in the script itself, most of the top part of the script is actually just simple key mappings. Of course, in the name of levels of abstraction, there's actually no real logic in any of these key bindings. Instead, they simply call 2 functions, and one of them is to change the volume, while the second is to call for a drawing of the progress bar, which is of course the on-screen display you see at the lower left corner of the screen. The change volume function simply takes in a parameter, and it increments the current volume level by that parameter. Same deal for the mute function. All you're doing is you're toggling the current state of the mute. The draw progress function is the more complicated one. I begin by actually reading off the volume level that is currently set. then I do some math to round it off to 1 decimal place, because if you don't do that, you get a whole string of decimals and that wouldn't look too nice. Then I create a progress bar, and depending on whether the sound is actually muted, I will go through this if statement and draw the progress bar itself in either red or blue, depending on the state of the mute. For the subtitle, that is the value that appears below the bar, I set it to display the current volume level in terms of a percentage. That is, of course, the one that we've rounded off earlier, so it doesn't look like an ugly long string. Finally, and this is probably the more confusing part, I set a timer to kill off the progress bar in 1 second's time. So what that basically means is, you can see a label down here called kill progress, and basically all it does is, first it kills the progress bar by turning it off, and then it turns itself off so it doesn't get called again. This is the concept of scheduling in AutoHotKey, so you can basically say I have some amount of logic that I want to run at a later time, and the idea is you give it an interval and it will run after that interval. I only found out while editing this video that there is a simpler way to switch off the timer. If you specify a negative interval, AutoHotKey takes that to mean that you only want to run the timer once, and it will not repeat itself. This saves you the trouble of having to switch off the timer yourself. So yeah, actually very simple logic. This took me a little longer than I like to admit to cobble together, but yeah, it's working now, and it seems to be okay in general. Of course, this program can still be improved. For example, a lot of things are hard-coded at the moment. It will be nice to, move them out to their own config file. But if you're a developer and you're interested in tinkering with this further, feel free to do so and use it on your own computer. Like I said, mainly I wrote this script for my own use, but hey, maybe, using the Windows key and your scroll wheel is something that more people should be doing. So yeah, that is why I released this particular program to the public. So yeah, use it if you like. That's all there is for this particular video. I know it's not like my usual videos, but hopefully you found it insightful all the same, and more importantly, hopefully you are using that tool in your own computing life. But that's all there is for this particular video. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, you're watching 0612 TV. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked this video, consider checking out the rest of my work on my channel. Alternatively, you may be interested in a playlist of my earlier work on computing and computer science topics. If you'd like to show me some monetary support, I am on Patreon. You can find a link to my campaign in the video description. Of course, you can simply like this video or leave a comment. I'll be sure to respond as soon as I can. To keep in touch with my future uploads, do subscribe to this channel. And for even more updates, check out the official Twitter account for this channel at 0612TV. Thank you for your support.